Hey, Kyle is Wonderful here with another wrestling review. This time it's NXT UK from July 14th, 2022. And yeah, it's been a pretty wild month here in NXT UK. I did hear that there was some major news that came out. I completely tried to avoid it. Uh, so this is going to be a spoiler-free edition going forward until we get to whatever the big news happened. Hopefully, I can remain spoiler-free. But anyway, it's been a pretty wild month here on NXT UK. We've seen new tag team champions crowned twice after Ashton Smith got injured, winning the title. Him and Oliver Carter had to relinquish the titles, and now Briggs and Jensen of all people from NXT UK, NXT 2.0 in America now hold the gold. So they will be defending Briggs and Jensen, the NXT UK tag titles this next week on NXT 2.0 against former champions Pretty Deadly. So if you're not paying attention to the 2.0 product, but you're a UK fan, definitely go check that one out. We've also had in the last month the breakup of Mustache Mountain as Trent Seven attacked Tyler Bate, who we have not seen since that attack. We have not seen Tyler Bate. Meanwhile, Sam Gradwell has stepped up the Trent, and we find out tonight that that match will take place next week. Over in the women's division, Blair Davenport recently returned from her 5-month ankle injury, and she said she will crush all hope in the women's division. Also, the two final bosses of NXT UK are doing well. Miko has a new student in Saray. Will Amelia continue to get jealous of this? And Ilya Dragunov said last week he wants to give Wolfgang, of all people, a title shot. So that should be pretty cool. Tonight's main event will be an all-Scottish affair for the Heritage Cup when Noam Dar defends against Mark Coffey, and Shaw Seamus has taken a bunch of 100-1 bets with his own money that Dar will win. So big stakes in that main event match. Let's just go right into this week's episode. We start with Oliver Carter making his entrance. Good cheers for Oliver here. This is going to be Oliver's first match since winning the three-way tag title match to win the titles, but then Ashton got Ashton got injured. So when that happened, Di Familia tried to recruit Oliver to join their family. Oliver said no, of course, and this set up this match tonight. It'll be Oliver Carter versus Teoman. Big cheers for the charming and passionate Oliver Carter when he comes out. Teoman comes out, the big boos, and the rest of Di Familia. And Oliver is going to be in trouble until he can find some friends. So this definitely looks like it's going to be a lot of 3-on-1 beatdowns until Oliver Carter can find some backup. So super bright and orange and neon green Nickelodeon looking pants on Carter. That was a little weird. But the match starts with some good grappling until Teoman hits a back elbow strike. Carter then shows his toughness, able to reverse back into a headlock of his own. Carter then goes on hits some big moves, but Teoman blocks it. Carter hits an arm drag and keeps hold of the arm. Nice looking move there. Teoman gets to the ropes, then hits a cheap shot on the break, so no clean break there. Teoman doesn't stay in control long, but then the rest of Di Familia distract Carter. And now Teoman's in control. He hits a big slam and mounts for some punches. Carter's in trouble now, getting worked over with strikes and holds. The crowd rallies behind Oliver, who starts to make a comeback, but Teoman cuts it short with a sleeper hold and then a nice liver shot with the forearm. That was a good-looking move. Some big strikes and slow offense now. Teoman's heat offense isn't very exciting, but then Carter counters another sleeper attempt with a nice springboard moonsault. This now quickens the pace. Pace quickens by about 500% as Carter now goes on the attack with some really awesome looking offense. A nice axe kick gets Carter a 2 count. Teoman's now all mad and turns it around, almost getting a roll up for the win with a handful of tights to Teoman. Teoman then hits a running, sliding forearm, one of his signature moves, but to the surprise of the announcers, the Oliver Carter was able to kick out. Teoman then goes for another big move, but Carter counters this into a good move of his own. Di Familia now try to distract Carter, but it doesn't work. Oliver Carter hits a big springboard drop kick, then a running, spinning heel kick for the 1-2-3. Your winner by pinfall is Oliver Carter. To the surprise of no one, 3-on-1 beatdown immediately after the match. Di Familia works over Oliver Carter until officials come down to break it up. The crowd is booing this heavily. So like I said, a couple of weeks ago when this storyline started, it definitely seemed like Oliver Carter was going to have to eat some 3-on-1 beatdowns until he can find some partners of his own. My first guess was maybe Mandrews and Wild Boar, but we do find out later on that they're very focused on getting the tag titles. So we'll have to see who comes to um, Oliver Carter's aid in the coming weeks. So in the back now, we see Mark Coffey getting ready for his big main event match. That was just a really short segment. Then we see earlier this week, Sam Gradwell is being interviewed in the Performance Center. Before Sam can get out his first sentence, Trent Seven attacks Sam from behind. Officials and other wrestlers in the Performance Center push Trent Seven out of the emergency exit. Um, I really like that segment, quick little thing, but I like how everyone quickly came to the aid and just pushed Trent right out of the building. So that was pretty cool. Also, earlier this week, we go right from that to another earlier this week, we see Fallon Henley. She's the third person in the group alongside Briggs and Jensen, the new NXT Tag Champs. NXT UK Tag Champs. So if you don't know Fallon, her family owns a bar that Fallon also works at, and then we get to see a lot of segments on NXT 2.0 that take place in the bar, including this last week where Pretty Deadly dressed up in cowboy outfits so that they could quote unquote blend in into the country bar, and almost started a bar fight until Fallon screamed at the top of her lungs, "Not in my bar. You can have a match next week," or something like that. So Fallon has completely different makeup on here than I've ever seen before, and I have noticed in the last 10, 15 years or so, I can pretty much always tell if a woman's from like the USA or Canada or from the UK based on the style of makeup they wear. I can usually guess this about 90% right. There's just something about the British makeup look that makes it look so different than over here in North America. But anyway, Fallon Henley is in the Performance Center there in the UK and looks very happy to be there. She says she's so far it's been amazing, but then Isla Dawn is all weird and creepy behind Fallon. So Isla is, in my opinion, cringe, super cringe. It's reminds me of the Alexa Bliss stuff that was some of the most cringe stuff in the last decade. But anyway, Fallon tells her that your creepy shtick won't work on me, so go elsewhere. So Isla just makes weird noises the whole time, and that segment ends. But we do find out later on in the show that will be a match next week on NXT UK, Fallon Henley versus Isla Dawn. So after the break, we see Josh Morrell in the back. He's excited about his big win last week over Primate. Dave Mastiff walks in and says, "Congrats for your first win in NXT UK. But unfortunately, you have to fall and crash sometime because next week you face me. Nothing personal, but I will win." So we also set up another match for next week. We've got 3 matches planned. Probably that'll be the entire card. So Josh Morrell versus Dave Mastiff will also take place next week. So then we see earlier this week, Wolfgang's dribbling a football around or a soccer ball, and Wolfgang says that he's flattered by the crowd and that Ilya would show, or the crowd and Ilya showing him this much respect. But everyone needs to remember that I'm a bad man in the ring. Someone needs to take that title, and why not Wolfie? So we're told that match will take place in 2 weeks. So we've got next week already set up, and we've got a big main event for 2 weeks set up for the NXT title, Ilya Dragunov versus Wolfgang. Looking forward to that. Stevie Turner out next. She's got some annoying beeping to the start of her music, but Stevie Turner has a great look. She definitely stands out from the crowd. She has a weird charisma that might get her a big cult following in the future here. So Stevie's opponent will be the French Hope, Amale, and Stevie's laughing at Amale. We see Blair Davenport's going to be on commentary for this match. So Blair says Amale is talented, but acts spoiled when things don't go her way. Amale starts the match strong, but gets a headlock in, but Stevie reverses it into a headlock of her own. Blair then says if she didn't get injured, she would already be champion. Amale then hits a nice jumping neck breaker and a drop kick, and Stevie takes control after this with some big strikes. This match is all about Blair, way more about Blair talking on commentary. We even get shots over to Blair talking during the match. It does go to a picture-in-picture sometimes, but a couple of times within this match, we just see Blair while the action is going on, which I never like when that happens. I understand you're trying to get across a story and a feud for later on, but I hate when they take away from the actual in-ring action in the ring currently going on. Anyway, Stevie hits a big running knee lift for a 2 count. Amale tries to fight back, but Stevie has it's a nasty looking, really good looking neck breaker. Amale's now in trouble, so the crowd rallies behind her. Stevie gets a boot up and then runs into 2 back elbows. Amale now takes control off of that and hits a big bulldog. The crowd's now cheering Amale on big time. Amale hits the big broski boot and the code breaker for the 1-2-3. The winner by pinfall is the French Hope, Amale. So that match was weird. Stevie kind of dominated while we paid attention to Blair the whole time, and then Amale just wins soon after that. So not really anything I would ever recommend going to watch. So Blair mockingly claps and says Amale has no hope against Blair Davenport. So this was just the entire premise of this match was to just set up the match between Blair and Amale. In the back, Noam Dar is also getting ready for the big main event. A referee comes over and tells Shaw Samuels that he cannot be ringside for this match, which is next. But first, we see last week after the show, Saray and Miko are seen in the back, seemingly just after their match, their big win last week. Saray and Miko talk in Japanese, but we get subtitles, and Saray says, "Thanks, but the person I want to fight next is you, Miko-san." So Miko shakes her head yes, and the two of them walk away. Amelia McKenzie was there and again doesn't look happy, maybe jealous and whatnot. Nina Samuels now comes around the corner with a microphone, and a Nina Samuels show graphic pops up as Nina goes to interview Amelia. Nina asks, "What were those two talking about?" Amelia just says, "Well, nothing about you," and then walks away. So Amelia's definitely upset. Again, I keep saying every review, I don't see why Amelia would be upset. Saray is clearly only there for an excursion or a visit or a vacation type, not there forever. So it's, in my opinion, it's making Amelia look bad. If the plan is for Amelia to turn heel, well, then I guess that works because I'm thinking at this point, in my mind, Amelia seems kind of selfish because it's not like Miko's completely thrown her out in the trash, and it's not like Saray's going to stay forever. So we'll see where that story goes. Also in the back, we see Mandrews and Wild Boar. They're being interviewed and asked about Briggs and Jensen holding the NXT UK tag titles. Andrews says the uh, first team waiting for them and when they return are us, and Wild Boar says let's bring those titles home. So maybe Mandrews and Wild Boar are potentially your next NXT UK tag champions. We'll have to wait and see how that one shakes out. So when we come back from the break, Sid is telling us that Wolfgang will fight Ilya Dragunov for the NXT UK title in 2 weeks. And then, like I've already said, next week we'll also see Isla Dawn versus Fallon Henley, Trent Seven versus Sam Gradwell, and Mark. What was that guy's name? Sorry, let me go look. Josh Morrell will be fighting Dave Mastiff. So pretty good set of matches coming up. So now it's time for the main event. It will be for the Heritage Cup. Mark Coffey comes out, and Coffey has 0 wins and 2 losses under Heritage Cup rules. Noam Dar now out. He's carrying the Heritage Cup with him. Dar started defending the cup strong, but now has taken a few months off, taking it easy. Let's see if this will affect Dar's performance, as he might not be quite as sharp as he would have been. If you don't know the rules for a Heritage Cup match, it is old school British style rules with rounds in effect. 2 out of 3 falls. There's 6 3-minute rounds. If you get a fall or a fall being either a pinfall or a submission within that round, the round ends and we take a break. So you get a little like boxing, a little break in the corner for about 10-15 seconds between each round. Big supernova chance from the crowd, despite Dar being the heel in this match. Pretty interesting there. So the announcers then put over how everyone in the building has placed bets on this match with Sam Shaw or Shaw Samuels. And the first round is a little bit of a feeling out process with some grappling here. Coffey has been even, if not better so far, but no big moves have been hit. Coffey then hits the first big move of the match, a nice shoulder tackle, and then an arm drag right after that, but then the round ends. So that's the end of round 1. After the bell rings, Coffey hits a big punch to the face. This gets a warning from the referee to mark Coffey for that cheap shot after the bell. Coffey then takes the legs out as round 2 starts. Then Coffey locks in the late gator lock, and Dar immediately taps. So round 2 was only lasted a few seconds here. The first fall out of the best of 3 goes to Mark Coffey, and round 2 is now over. So Dar might have been strategizing there, tapping super early to make sure he doesn't injure any ligaments or whatnot going in through the next. That's the whole strategy of a 2 out of 3 falls match. You can use a fall if you want. I've always said, not to go on a tangent mid match here, but I've always said if I was in an Iron Man match, where it's like regular rules other than it has to be 60 minutes and whoever has the most pinfalls or whatever um, wins. What I would do early in the match is I would just go get a chair, get myself disqualified, and continue to hit the person with the chair. If the ref wants to give me 2 disqualifications in a row, I would just keep continuing to hit them with the chair. And now I have like 55 minutes to make up the 2 or 3 falls I might have just caused myself with getting disqualified. But now the guy's really, really hurt with the chair shots, and he has to work another 55 minutes. So if I was in an Iron Man match, that's what I would do. So kind of along the lines of that same strategy. Now let's get to round 3. Remember, Mark Coffey is up 1-0. So Dar goes for the leg, but gets rolled up. Coffey then hits some big moves to keep control. Coffey hits a bulldog off the middle rope for a 2 count. Dar's definitely in trouble now, so he rolls out of the ring. Dar then gets back and hits some. Well, before he gets in the ring on the apron, Dar hits about 3 or 4 big strikes, then gets in the ring, hits some more strikes to get control. A spinning back fist from Dar gets him a 2 count. Dar now works over the knee a little bit and then stomps on both arms. So Dar's working on all the joints here, knowing that he has to get 2 submissions or pinfalls in the. Although I think if it finishes without Coffey being able to get 2 pinfalls and this round 6 ends, I think Dar would have just kept the title. So another thing to keep in mind. So Dar hits some big kicks now. Coffey's in trouble, but kicks out at 2. Dar rakes the face multiple times of Mark, and Dar was about to hit a big move. He's set up for a charging big move, but the round ends. The referee gets in the way of Dar to stop it. So halfway through the match, Coffey now leads 1-0 still. Coffey starts round 4 strong, but Dar fights out of a hold and locks in the champagne knee bar in the middle of the ring. So Coffey is stuck in the middle of the ring, but unlike Dar, didn't tap out right away, but still was forced to tap out maybe 30, 40 seconds later. So now some damage, unlike Dar, who really didn't sustain too much damage from the submission hold. Coffey did sustain damage to his knee here. So just to prove, hammer that point home, Dar keeps the hold on past the tapping out for the referee's 5 count. So we've got 2 rounds left. We're tied at 1 each. Next fall wins with the 2 rounds left. 3-minute rounds, don't forget. So we've got about 6 minutes left to for someone to get a hold. Otherwise, if nobody does, Noam Dar would retain the Heritage Cup. So Coffey doesn't seem to be able to put much weight on his leg at this point. Dar starts round 5 with a shotgun drop kick into the corner for a 2 count. Coffey then hits a suplex of his own for a 2 count, and this one could definitely go either way. I have no idea who was going to win this one. Dar then hits a massive pump kick, but Coffey catches Dar on the next move, and Dar counters this catch into a guillotine headlock. But Coffey was too strong for that. Vertical suplexes his way out of the hold because he was still in a standing position when the guillotine was applied. Both men are down now with about 1 minute left in the penultimate round. They get up and have a striking exchange. Dar hits multiple knee strikes, but then Coffey fires up and hits multiple strikes of his own right back. Dar dodges a big boot attempt, then goes up to the top rope, but Coffey meets Dar up there and hits a superplex right as the round ends. So we've got 1 round left. Noam Dar just ate a big superplex, but Mark Coffey can barely put any weight on his knee. So let's see how this final round shakes up. Round 6 starts, and Dar immediately bails the ring. Remember, he could retain the Heritage Cup through a draw. So Dar's trying to run away from Coffey, but then stops running away and baits Coffey into a champagne knee bar attempt, but Coffey gets out immediately, but then eats a super kick from Dar. So good match here. Great stuff. Dar then gets with his feet on the ropes after that super kick. Still can't get the 3 count. That might have been Dar's best chance right there. Coffey then gets the gator lock applied. There is 2 minutes left. So Dar struggles and does his best and actually does get to the ropes to cause the break. So Dar now rolls out of the ring, but Coffey rolls out with him. Coffey comes to punch Dar in the face, but Dar dodges. Coffey punches right into the ring post. I thought that might have spelled the end for Coffey, who could barely already walk and now might have broke his hand. Dar then takes down Coffey for a big move on the outside of the mat and looks for a count out win, but Mark Coffey is just barely able to get back in the ring in time. So Dar hits another move, but Coffey's able to kick out of this. Coffey fights back with some big strikes and a half Nelson slam. Then Coffey hits the running, sliding forearm for the 1-2-3. The winner and new Heritage Cup champion is Mark Coffey. So Mark lifts the cup up high as we see replays of the 3 falls. So Shaw Samuels comes out hysterically, throwing around pound notes and just livid that he's been caught with this giant bet. So the rest of the locker room now comes out to come get their winnings from Shaw, as Shaw basically cries himself away. Joe Coffey comes out, returns here. We haven't seen Joe Coffey in a while. Joe Coffey comes out and congratulates his brother Mark Coffey in the ring as we go off the air. So again, another great episode of NXT UK, and we've set up some more great episodes in the future. I'm looking forward to next week. We've got Isla Dawn versus Fallon Henley, which the one Fallon Henley match we have seen in NXT UK was Fallon Henley's best match ever that I've seen. So I'm looking forward to that one. We've also got Trent Seven versus Sam Gradwell, which we've been building up for 2 weeks now. And Trent Seven's the public enemy #1 in NXT UK. So that one's going to be interesting next week. And we've also got, we can find out if Josh Morrell can come off of his first ever win and get another big win, this time against Dave Mastiff. So I'm doubting that will happen, but we'll have to see what happens in that match. And then don't forget, in 2 weeks, it will be for the NXT UK title, Ilya Dragunov versus Wolfgang. So a lot to look forward to, a lot going on. Really good stuff here. And don't forget, if you're an NXT UK fan that doesn't watch NXT 2.0, there will be an NXT UK tag title match, Briggs and Jensen versus Pretty Deadly, this week, this Tuesday on NXT 2.0. So I'm going to get going. I'll see you guys later tonight for SmackDown. And I'll also be reviewing NXT Level Up if you're an NXT fan. So I'll talk to you guys again real soon. Thanks for tuning in and have a great one. Peace.